Will Young is calling for an immediate ban on dog testing in the UK and a complete end to experimenting on any animals.
The singer set out his campaign at the Labour Party conference this week, nearly 2 years after handcuffing himself to a facility in Cambridgeshire that protesters claim breed beagles for laboratory testing. I wonder if we've got pictures of that we can run as we introduce you, Will Young. There you are.
People thought I was having a breakdown. Another one. Well, I went up there because this was just after COVID, and actually, and thanks for having me on today.
Well, welcome to the programme. It's good to have you on.
No, it's great to be here. I didn't realise that dogs were still tested on. I actually didn't realise the extent of animal testing full stop. You know, people think mice, the mice, rats, rabbits, horses, pigs, chickens. But, you know, dogs up to 2,700 a year in the UK are tested on. At that particular facility, I was protesting to bring attention to it, because as a dog lover myself, and there's so many of us in this country, I think we're known as dog lovers and animal lovers, I just thought that had finished in the 80s. So I've asked for an immediate... I've launched a petition yesterday. We are just about to go over 5,000 signatures already, and only launched 10 a.m. yesterday, for the immediate ban of testing on dogs. Now, testing on dogs is a secondary species. There was a gathering in Toronto a couple of months ago where people from Pfizer, AstraZeneca stood up and said, we don't need to do this second species testing. They actually don't need to do it. There isn't even a requirement to do it. And they said, we don't want to do it.
Because British law says a new medicine must be tested on 2 different types of animals, one a rodent.
Correct.
And one a larger non-rodent mammal.
Correct.
So that's what you mean by the secondary species.
Exactly. And also, by the way, they still test on monkeys in this country, not large primates. No. It was Labour that actually banned that in 1997.
There is an argument. I mean, look, you know, it's an awful thing to think about. The argument is the tests result in medicines that save lives.
Well, this is the really interesting thing, because this is what I've learned, so, and you'll know from... You were telling me about your father's work, which sounds extraordinary, and I'd love to hear more about it. Non-animal testing methods, NAMs, their percentage of... they're far more efficient, they're far more effective, and they're far more scientifically correct, which would have been what your father was highlighting 30 years ago. You know, the failure rate is just over 90%. So for all tests that are done on animals, whichever species it is, past clinical trials, they then fail. And I say, if that was a Yelp review for a driving instructor, you know, 10% pass rate, you wouldn't do it. So I think what's happened is people have thought, well, you know, it's OK, you know, torturing an animal if it benefits my grandmother getting a drug that helps her. But actually, these non-animal methods are far better, far efficient. And it's a bit like we're running on coal, you know.
You're totally right about that.
Probably explain the reference to your father, Ed.
My dad is like, he's in his 80s now, leading scientist, pioneered using cell and tissue cultures, small models, rather than whole animals for medical research, was head of the European Centre for researching those things. And I think he would say there's huge amounts more we can do, as you said, Will, to use alternative methods.
Yeah.
However, in the hardest case, where you're looking for that drug to cure a terrible disease, are you saying even in those circumstances, I've grappled with this, you would say no to that?
Yes, because the success rate, now it's an interesting one. So what I've called for is the immediate ban on testing on dogs, a time frame for banning testing on all animals for household products, food, and then a longer time frame for health.
So medical research
medicines.
could be. We need more time.
I think 10 years for that. But also, it's an industry that's growing at 600% a year. You know, it's a huge industry, and the UK could be a leader in that. But I think
That's right.
I don't think any dog owner, you know, and I'm a dog owner, I love my dogs, you know, and they've also really helped my mental health as well. You know, when we first met, I was in a dreadful spot.
Because you first met on Strictly, of course.
We pretended to be in One Direction.
We did.
Yeah.
We went all around the media room, and I kept saying, it's so exciting to be here with Will Young. I can't believe he's left One Direction, but it's great he's here. And you remember every one of the journalists going around, nobody dared say he wasn't in One Direction.
No, they weren't quite sure. I mean, we were both more youthful then. But, you know, dogs have really helped my mental health because I had really bad PTSD then. And, you know, if you're a dog owner or an animal lover, please sign this petition because it's really important. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much indeed. I know that your words will strike a chord with people. The government, we should say, is committed, it says, to the replacement of animals in science wherever there are scientifically
Don't get me started on that one. It's not true.
Well, thank you very much indeed. Good to see you this morning.
Good to see you, thanks.